Property Tribes is hosting a whole week celebrating women in property, and I'm delighted to be joined by another guest here at the Women in Property and Business Networking event in London, Kate Sparsi. Welcome, Kate. Now, I do know a little bit of an insight into your story, which I found very inspiring. You've been through a lot of challenges. Tell us about your property journey.
Well, my property journey started nearly 7 years ago when my husband died. We had a portfolio of properties, which he managed, ran, looked after, and I sort of let him do that. That was his job. I had other jobs. And then suddenly he died, so I was sort of left with full responsibility for this reasonable sized portfolio, not really knowing that much about it. So it's been difficult. I've learnt the hard way. It's been a steep learning curve. It's taken me probably 7 years to get the portfolio onto an even keel, partly to do with the fact that I was grieving, partly to do with the fact that I wasn't knowledgeable about it, a lot to do with the fact that it's very difficult to find the right people to give you sound advice. That's a really, really, really key thing. If you ask 3 people a question, you tend to get 3 different answers. So wading your way through that is hard. But I've got to a point now where I've got the portfolio running the way I want it to, and I'm thinking, okay, this is good now, but it's not quite good enough for me. I want more. I want to leverage it. I want to leverage my time. I've given up the other work I had to concentrate on the portfolio. So this is really my thing now. And also, I want to do a good job for my husband because he started it off. He struggled with it a lot. I realised that looking back. So I don't want to make the same mistakes he made, and I just want to take it forward and make it really successful.
Well, I have to commend your attitude. I think anybody watching this is going to be amazed by your story and your strength of character to see through this. Having been through such a difficult time, were you glad that you had the properties there as a fallback position when you no longer had your husband?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I knew some things about property, so I knew that I had advice: sell everything, Kate, and get a job. And I just thought, no, you don't get rid of property unless you really have to. And I've hung on to all but one, and I'm really glad I did that. And now I can see it more clearly with the advice I've had. And some of the best advice I've had is coming to networking, because actually they're just like-minded people doing the same thing as you or similar things as you. They've got nothing to gain. They're not trying to sell their products. I'm always worried people are trying to sell their product. Why are they selling it? What's their angle? Everyone has an angle. If you know what that is, then you can negotiate around it. But certainly the networking, and I found networking with women really helpful as well. I don't have anything against men. I go to men's networking events, but there's a different atmosphere to women's networking, which I really feel drawn to.
No, I think you're right. And would you say really that women bring another kind of perspective to being a landlord? Do we make good landlords?
Yeah, I think we do, because I think, I'm talking for myself, and I think for a lot of the women I've met, we love property. We like them to be homes. So, I think we have a standard. Would I want to live in that house? No. So actually, I'm not going to rent it out. I'm going to have to do something about it. And I think we get on well with people. I think we network. I think we're reasonable. I think we'd rather come to a compromise with a tenant about things that are going wrong rather than come down heavy or whatever. One of the things I learned from my husband was that he kept very much to himself. He didn't network. He didn't ask for help. And whether that was to do with him or whether that was a man thing, I don't know. But that's one of the things I've really known. I am going to ask for help if I don't know, and I am going to network and get to know as many people as I can. And it makes you feel safer, because it's quite a big thing. It's a responsibility being a landlord, to be taken seriously, and I want to do it properly and I want to do it well. And you learn by talking to people.
You do, and you can never learn less.
No.
I think, what happened to you when life threw you a horrendous curveball, we as landlords have to understand that happens to tenants. and they can have issues such as redundancy, bereavement, mental health problems, some sort of crisis. And when that happens, my belief, and I'd be interested to hear your views, is that we should try and support them through that difficult period.
No, I think that's absolutely true. I think if you can be honest with them and they can be honest with you, there is normally a way, because I'd much rather have a tenant in my property paying me some money with maybe a top-up organised over a period of time than to say to someone, no, you can't be here anymore.
No, I agree.
Yeah, and to have a good tenant is the most important thing.
It is. Just to finish then, Kate, what would be your number one tip for any lady watching this who's thinking about getting involved in property or thinking sort of expanding their portfolio?
I would say go to networking meetings, talk to people, read property magazines. YPN is excellent. It gives you lots of case studies of what people have done. Property Tribes is great. I watch you and see what's happening there. And just have an open mind and realise that actually we can do it and they can do it. And I think you learn that when you come and you hear people talking at these events and you sit and you listen and you say, they're really nice and they've done this and they're really happy and successful, but you know what, I could do that too. So I think it's to have some confidence, but read up, talk to people, get some background information.
Well, on that very positive note, I've got to say thank you so much for joining me, and I know that your story and your perseverance and strength of character will be massive inspiration to anybody watching this. So, I can't say how much I admire you, Kate. I think you've done wonderfully well, and I wish you every success for the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you.